Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today we are doing April's window shopping episode. If you don't know what this is, never seen it before, basically once a month I like to look at the central market for notable items, and whether you play any other server besides NA, it's always interesting to see what the trends are, and especially because this game is an event-driven economy, so you never know, things might go up in price, things might go down. And whether you're a beginner or not, these are going to be items that you're going to be looking at eventually. And if you're an endgame player, maybe you might enhance these for profit or try to at least. So with that said, I like to look at notable items, and yeah, let's get started. So what we're going to be doing first is looking through all the Blackstars, both at Tet and Pen, give you my opinions on it, and also the one that's worth enhancing at this time. With the change recently with the Blackstar, the Agris thing that goes down, it used to be like, what, 40, and then they changed it to 20, and then now it's like 15 for Pen. So prices obviously shifted, and let's see what it's all about. It doesn't matter which one we look at, they're all roughly the same. Goddard is kind of a scam these days, and you're probably going to spend significantly more money enhancing it than just buying one. So if your goal is to get Pen, chances are, unless you get lucky, these are not worth going for. And they used to be incremental upgrades back in the day when Pen Blackstar was easier to, or well, I guess harder to get, but now the price of it is not. So what I would recommend for all of you guys doing is basically either just raw tap it or buy it, depending on the price. All right, so main hand. Oh my god, that is actually devastating. Last time we looked at the Tet Blackstars, they were at least like 9 to 10 bill, and now they are not. So yeah, these are definitely not worth enhancing. 75-ish for Pen. People are always going for Sovereign. Sovereign is the new endgame, so that's why these are on the rise. But Tet, on the other hand, I think with 15 Agris, like you see how it says 15 over there, people are just like raw tapping Tet to Pen, and if it goes before 15, obviously that's good, and if not, then well, you might lose a little bit of money. So the best option is always to straight up just buy it, and then no RNG, you just pay that amount. All right, so main hand around, let's just say 75, 76 billion, and then someone sold it. Wait, what is this? Today is April 3rd when I'm recording. Last time someone sold one was about a week and a half ago. So yeah, these are obviously not selling. Okay, so let's look at awakening weapons, and I guess we'll do Vediant. Okay, so Tet 11 billion or 10 billion. Well, these are slightly better to enhance, but it's still not great, and there's a lot of them. So anyway, the last one that was sold was, oh wow, that was actually like about 3 weeks ago at minimum of 67. So minimum now went up a little bit, but it's still not selling. So maybe the other ones are, but not the Dark Knight one. It isn't. So that's not great. I think realistically, historically, every month, the best one to enhance for profit has always been the sub weapon, because there is no Sovereign offhand. So yeah. So let's look at the Nuver first. All the PvPers out there, see what the trend has been. Has gone up, surprisingly. Past 3 months, it's always gone up. And I'm pretty sure that if you put one at minimum price, it would still sell. Like, you could buy one at minimum price and you'll be fine. I think the reason why is, you know how recently with the season, they gave everyone the double rewards? And like, even myself, I just rando tapped a Pen Kudum. So I assume people are doing that with Nuver options as well. If they, I don't think the season gives the Nuver, but that's PvP, and most people don't do PvP. So either way, if you had an extra one, they probably sold it. But the one we're going to be looking for, or looking at, is this one. So yeah, if you're going to enhance for profit, the offhand has always historically been the one to go for. 15 billion, that's more than 7. That's like literally double the main hand and about a third more than Awakening. So yeah, if you're going to enhance, offhand is the way to go. But even then, still not really, you know, like taxes and then enhancing it yourself, unless it goes one tap, it's not really the play. So and then pen, surprisingly, pen is lower or equal to main hand and Awakening. So interesting. You're probably gonna the best option probably to get it to 10 and sell it and then let someone else deal with it. But yeah, anyway, that's weapons done. Kudums, if you're like a beginner player and you have a Kudum, try to just YOLO tap this one to pen if you can, because your ultimate goal going forward is going to be pen Blackstar. So the difference between pen Kudum at Capris 20 versus a pen Blackstar is you're getting a little bit of extra monster damage from the effect, but you are trading off a little bit of accuracy from the Blackstar. So Kudum has more accuracy, less monster damage. Pen Blackstar has slightly more monster damage, less accuracy. So monster damage is always going to be significantly better, especially at higher end. And when I say high end, I mean like really high. You are in the 1%, I guess. So either way, for this one, if you're a beginner or even in the middle and you don't have a pen Blackstar yet, it's still fine to use. Ultimately, the goal is to get the extra AP against monsters, and that'll be fine for temporarily until you can upgrade to Blackstar. Okay, so what we're going to be looking at next is armors. So you guys know this thing that we got from the seasonals. Everyone got at least 2 of them, and everyone also got a choose your pen boss gear from the seasonal last time. So I expect prices to be down. Just makes sense historically. All right, so the one you should get. Ultimately, if you can save enough silver and just buy one like straight up, I would always just skip the whole flame thingy, flame process and everything, and just buy one. But if you are going to self-enhance it or self-craft it, let's see which one is cheaper. 9 billion for a Pen Griffin, and yeah, they're roughly the same. So if you're going to buy one, the Griffin, I think personally, is slightly better. In the like small window you're going to be using the Griffin for when Gaia, resistance is worth more than HP. So that's just my opinion. But anyway, Labresca, they're all roughly, you know, the same price. If you're going to self-enhance it, here's what stacks I would use. Base to Pry, I would use like starting at 80, and base to Pry is 80 to like 100-ish, 110. Pry to Duo, you probably start at like 100 and then go to like 130. Duo to Try is like probably 150 to 170 or like 180. And then Try to Tet, you probably use roughly a 230 to 270, and that's what I did. All of my Tets are self-made, and so I hit them 3 out of 4 of them on a 245 like ish, 245 to 50, and then the last one didn't go, so I used a 270. But either way, the price is really expensive. Most people do not save up 200 billion to spend it on something, and so yeah, I think Try to Tet is definitely worth enhancing yourself, because I think on average, if you're using a decent stack, it's going to be better overall to try to make it yourself on average. So yeah, that goes for all the Fallen God pieces. And you know, the difference between armors, Red Nose takes less Carracks stones than Dimtree, because back in the day 200 extra HP was a lot better than HP recovery. but now in 2025 is less relevant. So you know that free pen box you got? Yeah, get the red nose every time. And then same Fallen God, same stacks you use for everything. Liebers, 12 billion, that's the evasion version, and Begs is the 9 cheaper. If you're going to use them and you can't grind, or I guess this one is different, this is Morning Light stuff, I would always go to Beg's Glove route simply because, you know, most people will be using accuracy and stuff before evasion. Evasion is good at very end game because it scales higher, but accuracy is always just going to be, you know, better for everyone else. So like, unless you're into 1% or something, chances are this Begs is going to be better. Once you get Dawn's Gloves, which is the end game, blue is DR, green is evasion. You can swap them no matter what stat they're at. So like if you have it at Tet or Try, you can, there's a quest where you can just swap them back and forth. So it's not a big deal. It's just minimal currency compared to enhancing. And yeah, that's about it. So most people will have blue. Very rarely will people have green unless you're at the higher end, but ultimately it doesn't matter. All right, Urgons. Most people should get this one. 9.5 billion versus 8.5. So I think if you're going to use it, most people will be Urgons. Same with like DR versus evasion, same concept. And then blue versus green, you can also exchange them back and forth. So it should be easy. Let me see. I guess let's talk about Manos, because this is something I more or less started caring about when I started doing life skills more. You know how back in the day, all the clothes used to be like at Tet, they used to be around 5 billion. Now it's kind of different. So let's look at it. Most people should, I would say, get Tet. And the difference between Tet and Pen is 100 mastery, which is good. But also 50 billion, you know, you have to be very high up in the mastery scale before you're spending 50 billion to get a small upgrade. So like, well, I wouldn't say 100 mastery is a small upgrade, but if you can get a lot of other upgrades that are cheaper than 50 billion, it's definitely a better option. So for most people, I would say Tet Manos is probably the way to go until like you are locked in on something. Yeah, so the important ones, in my opinion, are probably cooking, fishing, and I would say hunting. But at the same time, most people don't really like hunting, even though it's, I would say it's probably one of the best life skills in the game for like active silver. You just have to be good at it, which is, you know, one thing. People would rather AFK fish while they're playing another game, and I don't blame anyone for that. So sailing, I think sailing is like a different thing entirely, because if you're actively doing sailing, you're playing a different game than everyone else. So if you're going at it, boat speed and all that stuff, it actually is important. So I should make a video about that in the future. Recently, I got all my Carrack gear to blue +10, and that was exciting. And then I got burnt out of sailing again. So maybe we'll go Lekrashan hunting. Okay, so here's one other thing. Wait a second. Where is it? Functional. I can't find it. Uh-oh. There was one that was different than the others. Oh yeah, the silver embroidered trader's clothes. Trading is a different life skill that most people don't do. However, if you are AFK processing and you don't have the Manos processing clothes, I think this one is a good alternative, not necessarily for the trading XP, but the +400 weight limit is definitely something that, you know, you don't have to spend real life money on. So it's definitely an option. So I would go +4 or +5 if you can. And so, yeah, it will probably, like at worst, if you buy 20 +4s, you can guarantee a +5 for like 25-ish billion, but that's the struggle of actually getting 20 of them. So yeah, I think it's worth it if you want the extra weight and you don't care. Like, processing mastery itself works a little bit differently, simply because, you know, it just increases the number you can make, but also it's an AFK activity, so sometimes people like the slow process because they're doing other things. So really, I think weight limit is probably more important. All right, with that said, next on the list, let's talk about let's see, where was it? Dancing Reforge. You know what's interesting? All of these are actually sitting on the market now. That's kind of crazy. The ones you should get. Here's the ones I use personally. I actually have the same thing on both of them. I more or less swapped them over. So back attack is generally just the best thing, like the best special attack for all classes. Crit damage, always good. AP, more damage. All DR is an alternative. You could swap that out for anything else you need. Like especially if you're an evasion class, you could go invasion instead of all DR. More crit rate. And I personally like Black Spirit Rage Recovery, and I have that on both of them. So that's what I use. The highest priority is probably all AP and maybe crit damage, but everything else optional. All right. Next on our list is Alchemy Stones. So the one I really want to talk about is Life Stones, simply because there's more options. And for like destruction, you have three options: the Atroy's Power Stone for beginners, the Khan's Heart for, you know, getting it for free from doing Khan 3 times with your guild, and then everyone else with the Vel. If you are in like the 0.1%, then you have a Splendid, but everyone else has a Vel, myself included, and you just put an order on or go to Vel every week and hope you get one. Protection Stone, you literally, I think the easiest one to get would probably be Resplendent. Otherwise, alternatives you can use is, let me show you. This one for PvE, the Perla's Star is a solid option, and I think that's fine. Otherwise, you know, use AP, get more damage. And so life skills, obviously the best one you could probably get is Splendid, but again, that's the option. The free version, what I'd recommend for most people, is the Trent's tier. I don't remember what quest you have to do, but I got mine during the seasonal reward. I think they changed it to quest now. And then the Khan's Heart, the life one, you just slot this one for the 25 mastery. You will go for XP, Trent's tier, and then if you can get like a Resplendent or Splendid, this one is active gathering. So those are the three uses for it. And if you can make them, that's the best option for you. And let's see what has changed in the past month. They added new crystals, which are these for endgame. These are kind of expensive. If you can grind them at Orzekia, it's an actually kind of difficult spot, actually. So you can grind them. These are worth getting. They're max price for probably another month or so. And once everyone gets them, they'll be going down. But until then, they're hard to get. Yeah, accessories. Let's talk about these, because I think nowadays, there's really only a few options. You have Deborekas, and then you turn them into Kharazad, or you have, what is it? You have Distos or Vahas, essentially the same thing. So Distortions are slightly better than Nav Kharazad. However, you do have the downside of -5 DP. So if you have two of them, it's -10 DP. And especially if you're grinding at higher end spots, then, you know, it's actually kind of bad. But for most people, unless you're grinding, you know, 340 AP spots or something, you'll be fine with it. I think it's something that is worth thinking about. It is kind of a dead end upgrade, simply because, you know, eventually you're going to want a Kharazad, so you're going to have to sell it. But right now it's fine. But if I were you, what I would do is just go Kharazad, simply because you get the crystals. There's no downside to all of these, and you're kind of getting like the same AP. If you go up in a bracket with Distos, that's probably good. But if it doesn't, just get these and you don't have the -5, -10 DP penalty from Distos, which I think is a really nice You know, so if you've ever done boss shrines with people and people get like one-shotted, they probably have distos or like try instead of tet gear. So yeah, that's one thing. Most of the things we talked about, you know, still all the ship gear is still high in price and everything. Let's talk about boat gear. You have 4 of them. The worst thing you can get is the balance. Just because it's a jack of all trades and it doesn't master anything. If you want to do ocean dailies and sea monster hunting, Valor is probably the best one. If you just want to go fast, Volante is a good one. Advanced for bartering, and Balance just kind of does neither of anything really well. So if you want to specialize in something, get one of the 3. Balance, leave it till the end. Unless you're a collector and you like having all 4 of them, then that's cool. But if you only care about having one, pick the one you think is good. And you can enhance and sell boat gear these days, so that's awesome. Yeah, aside from that, pretty much it. Everything else is still the same. All the crystals for all of you endgame players, still max price, sold out. And yeah. So with that said, we talked about all the gear, all the stuff that I think is notable. If you're still going for Kabuas, now is a good time because they're like at, you know, the lowest they've been. But with that said, that's all I wanted to talk about. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to watch the other episodes that we did last month to see like trends and stuff that are going on, I'll leave a link in the description to the playlist so you guys can check that out. And with that said, thanks so much for watching. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.